execution offensively. You go back and look at our first 3 games, that was probably the cleanest game we've played, just as far as assignments and getting a hat on a hat, and whether it was protection or run game and things like that. I thought we adjusted well in the run game. We had a hard time running it early and made some really good adjustments as a staff, and our players did a really good job of executing the adjustments. But Kevin Harris played really well, ran the ball really well. He runs through contact. He's right now the first guy there is not getting him on the ground. So he's been really playing good football. He was the player of the day for us offensively. Offensive lineman of the day was Sedarius Hutchinson, continues to play well. The effort of the day on offense was really 2 guys, Eric Douglas, we thought played extremely hard, and he has in the first 3, and Shy Smith. Shy didn't have the production that he did in the first 2 ball games, but from just a complete game standpoint, really played hard and played well. Some good explosives in the game. Colin Hill had 5. Kevin Harris had 4. Nick Muse had 2. Shy Smith had 2. DeCarrion Joyner had 1. Zaquandre White had 1. Xavier Leggett had 1. And Deshaun Fenwick had 1. Defensively, really good on third down in the red zone. I think our guys had some good awareness in those situations, but disappointed in the run game. We gave up 3.75 a carry. We had 4 big play runs. I thought we played high and soft up front. We didn't disengage. We didn't get off blocks. We better get that corrected before Saturday. So we gotta play with a better pad level and do a better job of disengaging and getting off blocks. But defensively, Ernest Jones was the player of the day. I thought he played extremely well. We didn't have a defensive lineman of the week. Effort-wise, Shiloh Sanders and Ernest, and then ball hawks was Ernest Jones, Cam Smith, and Jordan Birch. So happy for those guys. Special teams-wise, I thought we kicked it better. Both Kai and Mitch. It's tough sometimes on the kickoffs with a heavy ball, but thought for the most part recovered pretty well. I thought Jamie did some nice things in the return game as far as the punt goes. He had some opportunities, which we really haven't had any opportunities in the first 2 ball games. So I thought he did a nice job there, and we got to continue to progress there. But the player of the day was Spencer Easton-Riddle, who has been on all 4 phases and did a fantastic job for us. And then the effort on special teams was Darius Rush and Brad Johnson. Brad had some really, really nice job on kickoff coverage, and Darius Rush did a nice job as a gunner and on kickoff as well. So proud of those guys, and I'll open up for any questions.
Hey, Will, it's Dave. You mentioned Shy Smith there, and at least in the first half, it looked like maybe you guys were kind of trying to go away from him and maybe get the other guys involved. Was that by design?
No, I mean, we had some things dialed up. They doubled him with the safety several times, and the guy calling away from the read because of the double. And so that was some things. And then, we were trying to get some things going in the run game, in the first quarter there. But that was nothing by design not to go to him now.
And just off of that, how do you think the other guys played? Leggett and, just some of the other receivers who were out there, Mullins, guys like that.
Yeah, I thought Xavier, did some nice things for us. Continues to come on for us. Josh Van played well. DeCarrion had some opportunities, did some nice things. Luke Doty got in the game at the receiver position. We'll continue to explore that. I think I've explained that numerous times. It's hard because we've got to prepare him to be a quarterback as well. And so that's kind of where we are. Trey Atkins got in and did okay, and then Jakari Caldwell played as well. I think Rico played a couple snaps. We need to continue to bring him along. So again, we just got to keep bringing people along at the position. But Xavier did some nice things for us.
Hey, Will, it's Benson State. Without Spear in there, do you feel like that put a little bit of a challenge toward Zach and Rick? And did you feel they kind of stepped up a little bit?
Well, no, we need to play better. I said that in the beginning. So we need to play better. Across the board, not just there. At the end positions as well.
Hey, Will, it's Phil Kornblum. The right side of your offensive line, how did they grade out after reviewing the film? And do you think that Turner Tide might have taken a step forward with how he played?
I do. I think Jasper played well when he was in there. Ja'Kai Moore, Vershawn started the game and gave up a little pressure, especially on the first play. But he's going to be a really good player for us. Ja'Kai Moore came in and played well. Still searching for a little bit of where we go from there. We were able to, I think, play 13 or 14 offensive linemen in the game, which is great. but we're still going to continue to look to find our best 5 in that situation, whether it be moving Dylan back and giving Jadson an opportunity at left tackle. Jakai certainly going to be in that conversation. Bershawn Lee as well, Jalen Nichols. So we'll continue to work to get our best 5.
Hey, Will, this is Colin. I guess you talked in your press conference about at the end of the half the guys on both teams. John, how do you, as a coaching staff, address that, and kind of what do you tell the players as they're kind of talking to guys during the game?
Well, we discourage it, but obviously it gets competitive at times, and sometimes those things happen. But when it's detrimental to the team, Colin, and we have 2 situations where it was detrimental to the team. We had unsportsmanlike conduct on a player that lost his composure with another player from Vandy, and we're not going to tolerate that. And we had the situation at the end where it hurt our team. We had an opportunity to take a shot at the end zone, and we run out of time because we got some of that stuff going on. So we addressed it at halftime. It was addressed again today with our football team, and I don't tolerate it. We're not going to put up with it when it hurts our team.
Will, this is Josh. On the situation with your camp, and it may differ from camp to camp, but when a guy like Kevin Harris comes, is that via an invitation, or is that an open camp that he can just show up? Can you walk me through the process of how he got to campus and you guys offered him a scholarship when you saw him?
Well, it's open to everybody, 9 through rising 9th grader through rising senior, and also junior college players. So in those situations, what a lot of times ends up happening, Josh, is we may go see a guy's film here in-house. Then the coaches, whether they're on the road in the fall or they're on the road in the winter, in December or January, or they're on the road in the spring evaluation period, may see a player. And we may have some questions, whether it's speed, whether it's just football intelligence, whether it's change of direction, lower body explosion, whatever the cases may be. That's what camps are for us. It's an evaluation process. And if we're not totally certain on a kid, we'll tell them, come to camp. You may earn an opportunity to be here, and that was what happened with Kevin. He came to camp. Our question was his long speed, which he ran close to 22 miles an hour on the touchdown run yesterday. We verified his speed. We loved his tape. We loved the way he ran the football. Of course, you meet Kevin, you meet the type of young man he is. He's a first-class person. So when you add all those things together, you're able to spend some more time with them. That's a little bit of the recruiting process is hard. Is when you go off campus, unless they're a senior, you can't talk to them. So to be able to sit down and get to know the player a little bit more, I think is really important from that standpoint. And that's something obviously we missed this summer, but everybody did. So it makes the evaluation process, in my opinion, a little off when you don't have the in-person contact with a young man and to work him out of that and such things like that.
Do you remember which of your assistants first saw Kevin, and do you remember the first time you saw his tape?
I can't place that one, but I watch everybody. We like his tape. I remember our offensive staff and myself. We all watched him, and a lot of times we will watch it individually, and then we'll get together as a staff and watch it. And we really like his tape. We like the way he ran. I've said this before. When Kevin runs the ball, he's got a low stature. There's nothing soft to hit on him. All you see is knee pads and a face mask. So he enjoys the contact part of the game. He's a guy that really impressive in the camp setting. Thanks, Will.
Will, Eric Boyd in Spartanburg. A few weeks ago when you awarded Jalen Foster a scholarship, you mentioned about how hard he worked, how proud you were of him. He had the big first guy to the ball carrier on the fake punt to start the second half. Could you just address a little bit about what he's done, his improvement, and if he's that guy that could ever, maybe work himself into, maybe a few steps here and there at the cornerback position?
Yeah, well, he's playing safety for us, but Jalen's worked extremely hard and took advantage of the opportunities when he got in there, and so earned the confidence of our specials team staff. I've been in the room with him a lot as far as just coaching-wise at the safety position, so I've always had a high opinion of him as a player and a person. And so when he's had his opportunities and you take the fake punt, we saw the overload formation. We wanted to kill and get out of what we were in, which we did. Spencer Easton-Riddle made the call, and Jalen got out and saw what happened with the reverse there. So again, a guy that's just when his number's been called, he's answered the call, and you got to credit that young man for that.
What do you see in guys like Jalen that obviously he could have had a 4-year career where he started his career and played 100% of the defensive snaps and been a much bigger part of the defense? What do you see in guys like Jalen say, you know what, I want to play at the highest level even if it means make a much smaller contribution to the team?
Well, again, I think that's an aspiration and dream that a lot of young men have. I take my own son, Jackson. He had opportunities and scholarship offers at other places, and he wanted to play at the highest level in a situation that he felt comfortable. And I think Jalen's the same situation. Jalen walked on our campus. He has developed friendships. These players love Jalen. And they've never looked at him any different of being a walk-on or a scholarship player. And he was a part of the guys right when he walked on campus, and we're excited he's here.
Hey, Will, it's Colin.
Well, Dave again. Obviously, you're playing Auburn this weekend, and you're very familiar with them, having had a few coaching stops there over the year. Just your three, stints at Auburn, do you have one favorite memory of all those times?
Oh, no, it's a special place. I got tremendous respect for Gus and his staff and Auburn University. It's a blue-collar organization. It's built on hard work. And, I've had, a great stint there as 2 years as a graduate assistant, 2 years as a defensive coordinator. And Gus gave me a great opportunity to be the coordinator there for a year. And it's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to coach. And I got a lot of respect for Auburn University.
Were you there the night the barn caught fire during the game?
Yeah, I was GA, and it sure was. Yeah, I was GA. What do you remember? The barn? Well, we kept playing, but it was the old gymnastics barn. Now there's a parking deck now. It's a big parking deck they have there now. But it caught on fire. Somebody had left their barbecue out there. Came in the game, and the coals got in the grass and weeds and stuff there, and it caught the old gymnastics barn there. So I do remember that. I was here. I was defensive coordinator here. We came over here and didn't play one defensive snap in the third quarter. Y'all remember that? We had the onside kick there. Tubb hit the onside kick, and Kenny Irons had a heck of a night. Blake Mitchell starts the game, plays 3 snaps, and then Coach Furr takes him out, puts Savell Newton in, and we couldn't catch him. And he had 4 snaps of empty coming into the game, and they had 38 snaps of empty that night. And we couldn't adjust anything out. There was ink flying on the sidelines everywhere that night for us. We were scrambling.
And one more on that, Will. Obviously, after you had your GA stint, there was the 1 year as the Yellowwood salesman. Just what do you remember about that job, and what was the main thing that made you know that you wanted to get back in coaching?
Well, I think everybody in their life goes through a situation where you're not sure what you want to do, what is the best thing for you, and I couldn't get a coaching job. That was the issue. I was trying to get a coaching job. Just nothing ever materialized, and Jimmy Rain gave me an opportunity to work with him, and I realized after about 2 or 3 months that I needed to be a football coach. So that it was one of those times in your life you figure out what you want to do.
Will, it's Phil Kornblut again. When you looked around the league yesterday and checked out the other scores, what was your reaction to all the offense? It looked like only you guys in Kentucky played any defense. I think there were 7 teams, including your own, that scored 41 points or more yesterday.
Yeah, it's I think that we all are going through, obviously, the unknown here, Phil. And in talking to Jeremy about our first game, Dan last week, and then Derek yesterday, there's been a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of challenges. I don't, from whether it was through training camp and guys missing, and or certain guys missed more on one side of the ball, and then it's been tough, and it's hard to really quantify. the number of misses and different things that the guys have not been able to go through and experience in a normal situation. So I would think that, maybe from a timing standpoint offensively, it's easier to get things installed. It's easier to get things done. And then we've had some guys miss time, which affects tackling, which affects scheme, which affects a lot of different things, in my opinion. So I think that's a little bit of the issue there, as far as those things are concerned. But there's certainly a lot of points being scored.
Hey, Will, this is Colin. I think you guys have allowed 10 sacks over your first 3 games. I'm just wondering, how much is that on the offensive line? How much of that's on Colin, and kind of what can you do to help maybe clean some of that stuff up?
Well, I think that, without me, having in front of me, I want to say, 2 yesterday. One was more of a coverage where they did a nice job, and they did a good job of collapsing the pocket. We got beat inside in a one-on-one situation when the protection was turned the other way on a tough matchup on another situation. And I go back in my mind, I know from a route standpoint, I believe in the Tennessee game it was on the receiver. We had one on a tight end. We've had one on a running back. So I think it's been on all 3 levels. As far as that's concerned, we got to do a better job of protecting and not having the negative plays. In those situations, a lot of those have been obvious passing downs, 3rd and long, where most guys are teeing off. We've got a further route, combination down the field, so that he's holding on to the ball longer because of the route concept that we have on. But there's no question we need to be firmer in our protection, and that started with the first play of the game last night or yesterday afternoon. So we need to be better.
And I guess now that you've kind of gotten some sample size to see the offense, how good of a job do you think Mike Bobo is doing, and how would you evaluate him 3 games in?
Well, I think he's done a really good job. I think you go back to the first ball game, I think we had some plays left out there that we could have hit, should have hit, that we didn't. And I think that he has continued to develop packages for certain guys that he knows that he's got a better comfort level with now that he's been in a game situation with some of these guys and what they can handle and what they can do. In our second ball game, first ball game, we go 4 out of 6 possessions with scores. I think we had a really good plan against Florida, and we gave up too much on defense, in my opinion, that game. And then I think that we did a really good job of adjusting in the run game yesterday. As far as the things we could do and loosen them up with some vertical balls in the game that created, I think it was 10 or 11 or something. I think it was 11 explosive plays. So I think he's done a really good job, and he continues to change the look each week of how we get to things, whether it's personnel, whether it's formation, shift, motion. Continues to play with some different tempos as far as being on the ball, huddling, which I think stresses the play caller and the defense as much as anything. So I've been really pleased.
Hey, Will, have you reached out to Coach Dan Quinn at all after today's news, and just how hard is it, seeing that kind of thing happen to a friend?
I'm sorry, who did you talk about? Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn.
I didn't know anything what happened.
Oh, it's been reported that he's going to get let go, I think, tomorrow.
Okay, well, I hate that, but I didn't know.
Will, Eric, and Spartanburg again. A lot of people talk about the coaching fraternity and kind of the bond you guys can build up across the country from, just various running into each other on whatever avenues. Is there kind of a little bit of a deeper bond or kind of an extra maybe competitive edge among coaches? Like if you've been multiple places in the league, like at the same league, like you have in the SEC, and you've been a head coach, been a coordinator at various spots with guys, against guys, and other guys that are now head coaches in the league. Does that form any kind of a more competitive bond or more interesting kind of relationship in that regard?
Well, sure. I mean, I think that you develop relationships in this profession, and certainly during the season, which we're in now, you spend a lot of time with these guys. You spend more time with them than you do your wife and kids. But you do form relationships and constantly trying to keep up with how everybody's doing and how their health is and how their families are doing, and as best you can, which is very difficult right now during this time. But just no different than going back to Florida and seeing a lot of guys that I work with that are administrators that are still there, the people that I've got great relationships with. I think you always are developing the relationships and trying to maintain the ones that you can as best you can. As you continue to move forward in this profession, but it's very unique. You develop some really strong bonds with people that you may not talk to for an entire fall, and then you spend time with them in the off season, and that's just kind of the way it is.
Well, having worked with Coach Malzahn, does that give you any kind of, inside feel for his offensive style, how they like to do things, or not really all that much?
I think that's a little bit overplayed in a lot of situations. Every year a team changes a little bit personality-wise from the players that they have, and Gus is going to certainly take advantage of the guys he's got. And offensively, they're extremely talented. Schwartz is, probably the fastest guy in college football. Williams is a big receiver. It's a very difficult matchup. Tank Bigsby we recruited, so I know Tank very well. Bo Nix is a guy that can hurt you throwing it and running it. He's a great competitor. So they're extremely talented offensively. Kevin Steele does a fantastic job with their defense. They've been very good on defense and still are playing well. So it's I know Owen Papo is a guy we recruited, really good linebacker in there that does a nice job. Is very active in in what they do and what Kevin asked them to do. Some really good loose edge guys that do a nice job rushing the passer. So they got a talented team.
Hey, Will, it's John. How nice is it to get Mo Kaba in the game on defense yesterday, and what has he shown you through 3 weeks of game practices?
Well, he is a very intense, intelligent young man that enjoys the contact part of the game. I still think he's coming off his knee. He's a very tough kid, and he will not tell you if he's hurt. And so, but there's times I know that guys come off ACL, and it's been a year for him. But how some guys get better quicker than others, and I know he's pushing through it. I think he's got some pain in his knee, and we've got to watch his reps. But he covered kicks extremely well. He did a nice job when he was in the linebacker. He's going to continue to improve and get better, and we need him to. And we need him to continue to come on for us. But I'm excited about Mo and his future here at South Carolina.
Is he primarily at Will, or is he learning a few more things at other spots?
No, we're leaving him in one spot, and then he's going to be his role will continue to expand on teams.
Thanks.
You all good?
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Will. All right, I'll see you Tuesday.
Thank you.